Let me tell you a story about the baddest dog there ever was. Sneaking food from the fridge, tearing up the garbage. He's a goofy old Dexter the dog. He's a bad Dexter the dog. The baddest pup that there ever was. Seat stealing all day long, howling like a junkyard dog.
Hi, on today's episode of Ask Tanya, we're going to talk a little bit about counter surfing. So the question came in and it says, how do I stop my 8-month-old tall puppy from jumping up on the kitchen counters and the table and taking things? Saying down or even pushing her off only lasts for that time. Really great question. So, as always, I'm loving these questions that are coming in, and I hear them a lot, and a lot of people have the same issues. So, counter surfing. This is actually something that's pretty funny and dear to my heart, because Dexter boy over there, he's, if you saw his little promo video, he's a bit of a counter surfer. So, here's the theory behind counter surfing. So, if we want to remember, if a dog gets reinforced for something, meaning he gets something in return for doing an action, the behavior is going to, and they finds it pleasant, the behavior is going to repeat. So, for the instance of counter surfing, if we have a dog, like your large, tall puppy, and he jumps up on the counter and sees the loaf of bread and grabs that loaf of bread and gets it, then they're going to go, wow, that worked. You know, I got on the counter and I got a reinforcement, so I'm going to keep trying to do that. Even if we say that same situation happens, let's say the puppy jumps up there 100 times, and 1 out of 100 times he gets the loaf of bread or some other kind of reward, again, the behavior is going to continue because we just taught him how to play the slot machine. And we all know how addicting the slot machine is going to be. So if I keep looking, one of these times I'm going to get paid off. Now that reinforcement is going to be in the eyes of the beholder. So for example, that same puppy jumps up. Maybe he didn't get an edible piece of bread, but maybe he got a paper towel, or he got a towel or something like that, and he got it and he got it down. Maybe he got to play with it afterwards, you know, he's throwing it around or shredding it up. Or he got that paper towel thing and he ran across the house, and now you're running after him going, oh my gosh, let me get that paper towel. So now we just threw in that game of chase, and wow. So we doubled up on our reinforcement. We got something that's a little bit edible, but then we also got mom and dad to play this game of chase with us. Wow, how fun. Now, back to Dexter. So Dexter is, as you I'm sure seen, he's about 15.5 inches tall. So when he jumps up on the counter, he's never gotten anything on the counter. He's never physically gotten something and taken it down. But what we've learned is Dexter gets to see what's up on the counter. So my previous dog was a large breed dog. So when he walked by, you know, all he had to do is kind of lift his head and he could see what was on the counter and, you know, just walk by. I also had really good management when I had my last dog because it was just him and I living in the house. So there was really no mistakes. So every time he jumped up on the counter, he never got paid off. And that's the best way to teach a dog not to counter surf, is when they jump up, there's never a reward. All that stuff is gone. You know, we're puppy proofing because it's temporary. So Dexter jumps up, and even though he physically never gets anything, he goes, oh, wow, I see what's up there. And I found a pattern. So when Dexter tended to jump up, it was when we brought stuff home. So we come in with our big bags of groceries and we put him up on the counter and put him over there. Well, we always call Dexter Snoopy Pants because he always wants to know what's in the business. What is that? I gotta see. So he would jump up on the counter, see what was there, and then jump off. Because he got reinforced. Oh, I see, it's a bag of groceries, or, you know, whatever. That's what mom put, you know, you have something to put it in there. So what I've learned is when I come in with a bag of groceries, if Dexter's around and sees me, now granted, he doesn't do it as much now that he's 8, but when he was a youngster, I'd just be like, here's the groceries, take a sniff, see what it is, put it up there. So we were able to eliminate that counter surfing action of him wanting to know what was up there. So you want to make sure that when your dog jumps up on that counter, they don't get any kind of reinforcement, because then the behavior will extinguish. If 100 times of your dog jumping up on the counter, he's not able to pull anything off that counter or get anything, then that behavior is going to go away, because he's going to go, that's never any fun. You know, boring. I don't get anything. But that means we have to have really good management in that learning stage. And we don't want to go, oh, it's a week later, he's not getting anything, so I no longer have a counter surfing dog. Because if he has a history, which this dog does, a history of getting reinforcement, it's going to take a lot longer for that pattern to break. Because again, he's learned he gets paid off. So he's going to keep trying for, a little longer and longer until eventually he goes, wow, I guess, that payoff is no longer in existence. Which is why when I teach puppies and puppy training students, I really advise them to make it impossible for your dog to get anything you don't want them to have. So remote controls and things like that, they're not up on the little tabletops and counters so that dog can get that and learn how fun it is to chew it. So when my puppy jumps up on that counter, again, there's nothing to get off. So they learn with repetition that I jump on the counter, nothing. Again, they're going to learn jumping on the counter, nothing to get off. I will talk a little bit about punishment behaviors where some people want to startle their dog or scare their dog when they jump up on the counter. So meaning they do a little setup where they put little tin things on top of the counter and the dog jumps up and they fall down and they scare the dog. That's not something that I recommend, probably because I work with a lot of fearful dogs and I know that fear can be a pretty scary thing and really difficult thing to work with dogs and their humans. So I don't want to teach my dog to start being scared of things because that can backfire on me. I could maybe think, I'm not hurting my dog physically, but mentally I am, where if that dog knocks those metal tin things off that counter and gets startled and scared, depending on the dog, I may have stopped the counter surfing, but I may have also taught my dog that counters are scary, that the slippery floor is scary that he was standing on, that the kitchen's scary, that the lamp is scary that he was looking at when the things fell down. So it can back chain itself to things that we weren't even anticipating. So I'm definitely not a person who recommends any kind of negative reinforcement type of thing to scare or startle the dog, definitely not to hurt the dog. If you have a room or a space where you can't puppy-proof it, so I know that some of my clients, their kitchens will also have their office little nook there, and they have all this kind of stuff there, and it's just too hard for, believe me, I get it, my desk is a mess, where I can't make sure my dog doesn't get that stuff, then I need to make sure that my dog doesn't have access in that room, or whenever we're in, so little baby gates or doors shut, that sort of thing, or every time I see my dog start to wander into that room, I'm going to do a quick little name game, call my dog out of that room. So again, we don't learn that, wow, mom's desk is pretty cool because there's tissue up there, there's pens and papers, and what a disaster. So we might need to do a little bit more of puppy proofing and managing during that stage. And I do say stage too, because if the dog is young, which is usually when these questions come in, if the dog is young and learning these things, if we prevent it from happening during that goofy puppy stage, then it won't be an issue during that adult stage. So back to my golden retriever, Theo, when he was young and he was in his goofy, what does this do? What does that do? What happens when I jump up on the counter? What happens when I, go over here? If they don't find that there's any reinforcement, that behavior is going to extinguish and go away of him trying, and then it won't be there in the future. So when he's an adult dog, he doesn't even think about jumping up on the counter for anything because he hasn't learned how much fun that was or that he gets a reward. So hopefully you found these tips helpful. I actually wrote an article on counter surfing, so I will actually put that up there in the description, and I'll also put up there the link to ask and submit your own questions because I want to keep them coming, and I appreciate you guys stopping by, and we'll talk next time.